good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on this lovely Thursday morning. My name is Katie Lindblad. I'm one of UJV's directors. I look after the Southeast and I have counterparts in all of the different regions in US covering Canada and our global partners. Jazz Coble is one of our amazing experts in the Caribbean in particular. She has lived there. She has worked in and out of the Caribbean, originally from Nashville. And she's truly one of our top experts at UJV in this region. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Jazz. And I hope you have some fun today with Jazz and learn quite a lot as well.
Well, thank you so much, Katie, for the intro. Good morning, everyone. Good morning from Montego Bay, Jamaica. I love seeing everybody's location. It is definitely hot here. So yes, do we want to be in the Caribbean? Absolutely, but pack your sunscreen and pack your patience because it is hot. The good thing about the Caribbean, though, is you're right in the ocean. That breeze comes by, cools you off, and reminds you why you love being here in the summer. So guys, I'm excited to talk to you guys about island hopping in the Caribbean. I want to touch a little bit on how UJV can do that for you, how I can do that for you, and how we just want to think a little bit differently about selling the Caribbean a little bit smarter for those who have traveled to the Caribbean and those who have not. You can proceed next, please. There are a lot of things I could tell you about myself, but what I think is more important is how did I get the knowledge of all the things I know about the Caribbean today and how I can help be your Caribbean insider. So I fell in love with the Caribbean at 15. My parents decided to let me go on a cruise with one of my friends that was graduating from high school. She was a little bit older than me, and we decided to actually go on a cruise together and do some island hopping. And what a mistake they made, because then I moved here when I was 30. So not that my parents were that excited about it, but they definitely supported me in my endeavors. And I've never looked back since. I've been selling luxury Caribbean for 13 years, probably 14 this year. 10 of those have been with Ultimate Jet Vacations. I love doing this from a wholesale standpoint, helping travel agents understand and build their book of business in the Caribbean. When I decided to move to the Caribbean, the first place I fell in love with was Anguilla. So that was my first home. I tell everybody I will retire and die in Anguilla. It's the perfect place to just relax and disconnect from everything. I'm currently now in Jamaica. My spouse is actually a local islander. Fun fact, if you're ever planning, helping someone plan a Caribbean wedding, I'm doing it right now. So you need any tips on that part? This is not a wedding webinar, but if you need some tips, I'm doing it right now. It has been a very interesting journey to plan an international Caribbean wedding. Definitely got some deep inside connections across the region just because I've been down here on the ground. I love meeting our vendors. I love meeting those that are navigating the clients around the island, giving them the experiences they like. So I've really grasped some deep connections right inside each island and been able to really get to know the staff and the people on the ground that are making our lives easier every day. A lot of them have now become my friends. Several of them are coming to my wedding here at the end of July. I even have a hotel here in my wedding. So it really is deep insider connections across the region. And I'm here to help you sell it with ease and confidence. You know, there's obviously moving parts to everything, but the Caribbean can actually be really easy when you have someone on your side. In the next slide, we'll proceed forward. I just want to make sure we understand where UJV takes your clients in the Caribbean. And it's pretty much anywhere. We don't have hotels on every single island, but we pretty much cover everything. And when you have someone that's a Caribbean insider, even if we don't have a hotel there, definitely can help you navigate around those areas. So when looking at the Caribbean, you know, we can take you anywhere that you see listed here or anywhere that you want to kind of get a new feel for, where places that maybe you've already been, but you just need a deeper understanding. So we take you throughout the entire Caribbean. Next slide, please. So why do your clients love the Caribbean, right? We know the Caribbean for the natural things, the iconic beaches, the turquoise waters. We know them for diving, unique underwater opportunities, even really cool scuba diving opportunities, or even if people are like my father is, a fisher. And so we want to take it out even farther into the waters for fishing. We know it for incredible wildlife, great local culture. We know Caribbean people are prideful, and I know that for sure, and they love their culture. And we love to see that because it creates an ultimate experience for your clients. And then, of course, great fresh local cuisine. We know it for year-round tropical appeal, so perfect for festive, honeymoons, quick luxury getaways. We know the Caribbean for all of these things, and of course, easy connections from other major US hubs, or pretty much all major US hubs. So I'm here to help you, and I want to be able to kind of talk a little bit deeper into the Caribbean, but I really want to focus on multi-island trips, and let's talk about what island hopping looks like in the Caribbean. And the reason why I want to talk a little bit more about this part is because it's kind of easy to pull in knowledge about one individual island. But how do you sell the Caribbean more confidently on a broader scale, and understanding how to move about the Caribbean and create different Caribbean experiences? So this webinar really is for you if you're looking to sell the Caribbean more confidently, if you're looking for an insider partner, hello, who does the legwork for you, if you want to keep your clients loyal and delighted, because what we want to do is we want to make sure the clients are coming back to you all the time because you have fresh ideas, new ideas for them to be able to explore the Caribbean. But we want to offer multi-island trips that maybe people have not thought about, or maybe it's a little bit scary to you and you're like, I can't master all these details. I need some help. That's what we're here for. In addition to that, I just want to add a quick note that I didn't put here, but we are obviously in a little bit of a sensitive economic situation, right? Everyone's a little bit scared. People are questioning travel a little bit. And we're noticing that people are tending to move towards travel that feels more safe. So maybe something that's closer to home. But they're like, look, I've spent 5 days on one island in the Caribbean before, or I've been multiple times a year. How do I make the Caribbean a little bit different, but still feel safe to me? Because I might not want to travel for 2 weeks right now because I'm a little nervous. We want to make sure that we're offering something a little bit different in the Caribbean, and island hopping does that, especially for those that are looking for something a little bit more comfortable in our economic environment right now. Next slide, please. So we're going to talk about my favorite island hopping trio. These are three regions. These are three regions that I think are the easiest island hopping. Are these the only island hopping? Absolutely not. You can definitely island hop in different ways, but for the sake of time, I'm going to cover three main areas. And so these are the most common island hopping areas that people normally do. And so these are kind of the ones that are easier to navigate and kind of first of top of mind. But if you ever have someone that's like, look, I want to go from north to south, east to west, we can do it. No worries. So we're going to look at these three areas. We're going to look at the British Virgin Islands first. Very common island hopping. I don't think anyone goes to BVI and doesn't touch a different region once or twice out there, right? And then we're going to talk about the Middle Islands, which is Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bart's, which is very popular island hopping. And then we're going to move down to the Southern Caribbean into the path less traveled, is what I call. And this is going to be your St. Lucia, Barbados, Grenada area, and then hopping kind of down in that St. Vincent and Grenadine area. This spot, and island hopping here, is not as common as the other two regions. So we're going to cover through these regions, and I'll tell you what I'm doing in November. Next slide, please. So starting with the BVI. So everyone knows the BVI to be multiple islands. So this is probably one of the most common island hopping regions that people think about in the Caribbean. Your main entry hubs into the BVI are going to be St. Thomas and San Juan. Typically, your guests will fly into one of these two islands, and then they'll make their way over to the island connectors of Tortola, Virgin Gorda, or they might even hop over to Jost Van Dyke for an island day visit or a boat stop. These islands are perfect for couples and groups. It's perfect for regatta season. So if you have people that are looking for catamarans or yachting, sailing, anything of that area, regatta season is huge out here, and bringing out the boats and seeing all your boat friends and talking all the sailing talk. Look, I'm not a boater. I love having friends with boats, but I don't own any. But I think it's better to have a friend than to own it. Then you don't have to worry about the maintenance, right? So if you have people that are really big into boating, obviously BVI is one of those places that people are like, look, if I'm going to be on a boat and I'm going to island hop around on a boat, this is the area I want to be in. But the BVI is also known for some really great laid back luxury experiences. So if you have somebody that's like, look, I need a butler handing me a drink on the beach, but I also want to have my shoes off the whole time. It's a great combination of laid back and luxury in this area. I do have a few top picks in this area. You can go to the next slide, please. Of top picks of resorts in this area. With that being said, again, being on a boat is big out here. So I always tell people it's a great combination of maybe having a 2 to 3 night hotel stay and then having like a 7 day boat trip. And then you can have kind of a great 10 night stay. And so you're really moving around. You're having a chance to see some different environments, some different islands, and really kind of enjoying being out in the BVI. So some of my top picks, if you have clients that are looking for a private island experience, Necker Island, I'm sure some of you know it, very popular, very famous. Richard Branson has obviously done some great things out there, but a great private island experience if you have a larger group. And this is great for people looking for some ultimate privacy. Some of my other favorites, Rosewood Little Dix Bay at Walnut Bay and Virgin Gorda, some great properties out there, multi-gen families, large villa accommodations in these areas, and just great all-around resort activities to be able to have and be able to enjoy the BVI. Some of my other honorable mentions, the Ariel in Tortola is a private island all-inclusive option. It's actually relatively new. So something to keep in mind and keep on your radar. We rarely see all-inclusives in BVI, very rarely. And that's because there's so many cool restaurants and beach bars and private island restaurants that you can go and enjoy. So this is a really cool addition to the BVI to be able to have kind of an all-inclusive private island experience. It's a private island, but it's welcome to multiple guests. You don't have to rent the entire island, just to be clear. Then another cool spot that is a good honorable mention is Scrub Island in Tortola. This is a great option. I do a lot of this post catamaran. So if someone is, hey, I've been on the catamaran for 10 days or 7 days, and then I just want something just to wind down before I hop back over to the US, Scrub Island is a great way to kind of wind down for 2 or 3 nights post catamaran. Thank you so much. Moving on to the Middle Islands. And guys, please feel free to drop any questions you have per region or anything you have in general. Please feel free to drop those in the chat. I will be answering those at the end. But moving on to our Middle Islands. These are probably my favorite. Obviously, I lived in Anguilla. I'm a little bit biased. Don't judge me. But the Middle Islands are probably my favorite island hopping experience to do. If you're looking for shopping, sun, fun, activities, boats, all of that kind of stuff, the Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bart's combination is such a good option for people that want to hop around a little bit and feel like they're doing a little bit more than just sitting on the beach. This one is really an effortless island hopping. There's now nonstop flights from Miami to Anguilla, which is amazing. So if you have clients that are in different areas and they can connect to Miami, they can actually fly directly into Anguilla. The other idea is to fly into St. Martin as well. And then you're going to hop around these 3 islands. And the really great part about these 3 is that they're so close together that transferring between the 3 is super easy and effortless as well. So this one is a good one for anybody that's looking for kind of ease of hopping, right? So they just want to be like, look, I know I'm going to easily be able to get availability for a flight, easily be able to grab me a private boat. And it's just kind of an easy one. This is, when I say easy, it's also really good for families that have smaller children, right? Sometimes smaller children get a little bit antsy if you're hopping them around a little too much or you have them on a flight that's a little too long. This gives you that shorter connection time. And so really nice for families with small children as well. So you want to think about in these islands, shopping, nightlife, relaxation are a combination of all 3. It's great for couples, honeymooners, groups, and multi-gen families. Recently, I did a 100-person yacht group on Emerald Takara, and we actually started in St. Martin. We went up to the BVI to Joost Van Dyke. We came down to St. Bart's, and we went back up to Virgin Gorda. So it was very fun. But it's really, these islands are really great for if you have groups as well, or whether they're 100-person or 10, it's a great way to kind of give a unique experience to a group as well. In these particular islands, it makes it so effortless to move around. So I love this slide. I wanted to add this slide in that's a little bit different from the other two regions because this section, the Middle Islands, Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bart's, are probably the only island trio where you're able to really truly choose between a boat or a plane transfer. Versus when you're in BVI or when you're in the Southern Islands, which we'll cover shortly, you really, it's kind of an either or. You're going to fly into one place and then take a boat elsewhere. You're not going to be able to choose between the two when you're kind of hopping around some of those other islands. But right here in these middle islands, you really get a choice. So this map is really great to kind of show the boat versus plane option when moving around these islands. So if someone is flying into St. Martin, they could easily take a boat 25 to 30 minutes right over to Anguilla. This is very common. It's an easy ride. It's calm. You get a rum punch. They pack your bags up. You let your hair blow in the sea breeze. And before you know it, you're pulling up to Anguilla. This is the most common way to go St. Martin to Anguilla. There's also a plane. It's operated by Air Anguilla Services, and it's about 10 minutes. They usually run this plane 1 to 2 times a day, typically one in the morning, and then sometimes there's an afternoon flight as well. But this is a little less common. Most people hop on the boat for this particular route, and this works vice versa as well, Anguilla back to St. Martin. Then if we're rotating, just kind of going in chronological order here, Anguilla to St. Bart's, you can take a boat here. The boat is an hour and a half, but this is a choppy ride. And I want to be very honest. If you have anyone that's seasick, or if you have anyone that's just not kind of used to being on a boat for a longer period of time, I typically recommend the plane in this option. And so the plane flight from Anguilla to St. Bart's is 15 minutes. They run once to twice per day. It's typically done with Anguilla Air Services as well. And this flight is easy peasy. Now, does it go up and straight back down? Absolutely. So be prepared for the up and straight back down. But it's just an easier way just to get on over and start your time in St. Bart's or start your time in Anguilla because it works vice versa as well. And then if you're going St. Bart's to St. Martin, typically most people do the flight here. It's very, very common, but there is a boat. It's an hour and 10 minutes. Again, this route can be a little bit choppy as well, depending on the weather. But the plane flight is 15 minutes and it's very common. There's about 6 to 8 flights per day. There's three different airlines that will route you through this as well. And so it's very common to be able to take this route and be able to just get to St. Bart's in 15 minutes. Again, it is up and down on the plane pretty quick, but it's a very scenic ride and really is the most common way to transfer between St. Bart's and St. Martin. Next slide, please. So a couple of my top picks out in this area are going to be Aurora Anguilla and Golf Club in Anguilla, probably one of my favorites out there. Really great for multi-gen families. Golf course, water park, all the bells and whistles that you have out there. If we're moving over to St. Bart's, one of my favorites out in St. Bart's is Hotel Les 20. This is great for honeymooners and couples, girls trips, guys trips, anyone of that nature. Probably one of my favorites out there. And then the lovely Belmont, La Samana, and St. Martin. So you can see across these 3 islands, you really are going to have you can really combine some great properties depending on who's traveling, whether it's families or honeymooners or couples, and you're going to be able to combine some great luxury out in this area as well. Some great honorable mentions here. If there's any region I'm going to suggest villas in, this is it. These 3 islands have amazing villas. And so you will notice that in these 3 islands as well, I wouldn't say all the resorts, but most of the resorts have villas actually on property as well. So you have somebody, let's say, hey, you know what? It's me, the grandparents, my sister and her husband, my brother and his wife and their kids. And look, we need 6 bedrooms, 8 bedrooms, 10 bedrooms. We really don't want to have separate rooms. We want to be together. We want to have a chef, etc. This is a great place to do villa hopping as well. So you'll find great villas connected to resorts, and you'll find great standalone villas as well. I highly recommend kind of doing the ones connected to the resorts if you have somebody doing a villa experience for the first time, or if you have someone that you know needs some really kind of high touch, constant service all the time, or someone they can just give a call to and say, "Hey, I need a quick, pack of 12, pack of water." It's kind of better to have them on property. If you have someone that has done villas in the past, someone who's frequently traveled, and they're like, "Look, I want a house, and I want a butler, and I want a chef, and I want housekeeping," then they're perfect for individual standalone villas. So it's always good, if we're looking at villas, talk to me, tell me what your clients like, tell me how they've traveled in the past, and I can help you direct them into what's going to best fit their travel needs. But these islands are fantastic for villas. So if you want to think about villa houses, no islands are perfect for that. Some other honorable mentions on these islands as well is going to be Zimi Beach in Anguilla. Probably one of my favorites as well. The famous Cap Juluca Belmont property in Anguilla. You can do a Belmont combination, always very popular if someone wants to start off in La Samana and have a great La Samana experience in St. Martin, and then hop over to another Belmont property, Cap Juluca in Anguilla. Great Belmont connection there. And then some great honorable mentions in St. Bart's as well, Lake Bartholomew, which is a favorite, and the famous Rosewood Lake Guanahani as well. Next slide, please. So moving to last but not least region here, this is the path least traveled. It's the Southern Caribbean. Most people come down to the Southern Caribbean, they say, "Give me 7 nights on St. Lucia. Give me 7 nights on Barbados. Give me 7 nights on Grenada." But what they're missing is you can do 3, 3, and 3 and have an amazing and completely different experience. You can go from laying out on the beach in Grenada to the beautiful white sands, to hiking the pitons in St. Lucia, to going to Barbados and learning some new culture. So like, people tend to spend a lot of times just on one of these islands here in the Southern Caribbean. But I want us to think about island hopping in this region as well, especially for people that are looking for a little bit of adventure, or people that are looking for a little bit of that under the radar luxury. Oh, I've seen some flags pop up. Is there some Barbados flags down there? I love it. So I want people to think about island hopping in this region. And I want you to think about it in terms of giving people, you know what's a good one? The honeymooners that say, "My husband wants to hike and he wants to fish, but my wife wants spa and she wants to lay on the beach and do nothing." Perfect combination here, because you're going to be able to give them a little bit of both. And then husband and wife are happy. The marriage starts well. They're married to lifetime, right? So I love this combination. And I want us to think a little bit more about it. In addition to those main 3 islands, St. Lucia, Barbados, and Grenada, I also want us to think about what connects to the smaller islands from these. So think about St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Think about Bekia. Think about Petite St. Vincent. Think about Canawan. So you can really get into a very intricate island hopping experience here. I would say at least give it 8 to 9 days if you can. But if you have someone that says, "Look, I got 2 weeks," oh, we can do a lot here. It's a lot of options out here. And so this option, when we're looking at these islands and we're looking at the Southern Caribbean, you really want to make sure that the people that are traveling here are those that are willing to take the extra steps to get here. So this is least travel because it takes a little bit more time. It's a little bit more flight logistics here, a little bit more boat logistics, but it's worth every penny. Next slide, please. So my top picks in this region, and this can go, this is a honeymoon region. It is. It has some really unique properties, but this is also really good for families too. And so some of my top picks out in this area would be Sugar Beach in St. Lucia. I'm sure a lot of you heard about it. Probably one of my favorite properties out there. Great for families, great for honeymooners, great for couples. St. Lucia is also something that people don't mention a lot. St. Lucia is also a really good singles island. So if you have anybody that's a single and they're like, "Look, I'm going by myself and I really want to have somewhere where I feel comfortable being a single," St. Lucia is really good for this. Moving over to Sandy Lane in Barbados, this is probably one of my favorites. If you have someone that's like, "Look, I want real luxury, but I don't want it to look flashy," this is it. this is it for you. It's a great kind of understated luxury, and really offers a really amazing experience over in Barbados. And then moving over to Mandarin Oriental Canawan. So Canawan is going to be where you're going to move from Barbados or Grenada, and you're going to hop over into the St. Vincent and the Grenadine area to make your way down to Canawan. But the beautiful property of Mandarin Oriental is there. Really a very understated luxury, kind of a secret, exclusive. A lot of people don't know about Canawan and or Mandarin Oriental out in that area. So this is a great one for someone that's like, give me something unique. So when I go back for my honeymoon, Bob and Joe down the street can be like, oh, I did that too. So it's a kind of a good one to kind of give a little uniqueness out in that area as well. Some great honorable mentions out there. There's Jade Mountain in St. Lucia. If you don't know that one, Google it now so you can see the pictures. Absolutely amazing and unique. Fourth wall open up on the hillside, infinity pools overlooking the island. Amazing. Great kind of small, unique, and intimate option would be Cobbler's Cove in Barbados. And then we have some great honorable mentions of Spice Island and Silver Sands in Grenada. And then if we're moving over into St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we'll be looking at Petite St. Vincent. So before I move on to the next slide, I do want to just mention that this particular region, so this is our last region we're mentioning, this particular region is actually my honeymoon. So in November, I will be hopping around the Southern Islands for the first time, island hopping in the Southern. So I will be able to most certainly share my experience out there with you guys of that past least traveled. I could, as my own honeymoon, I couldn't resist going where everyone's a little bit afraid of island hopping. I said, no, I got to tackle this so that I can speak directly to you all on island hopping out there. I've been to St. Lucia. I've been to Grenada, but I've never actually island hopped around. So I'll be actually going in and doing the actual flights, the inter-island flights, which are usually through Inter-Caribbean or Caribbean Airways, in case anyone was wondering. And I'll actually be doing a couple of boats as well. So I'll really be getting that feel for how that works out logistically and hopefully bringing some ease and confidence to you guys for this area if you want to explore doing some island hopping in the last but not least southern region. Next slide, please. So we've covered 3 regions. I want to do a little broad overview of some new properties that we've added in general, but we've covered 3 main regions, right? We've covered the BVI, which is great for boating, always known for island hopping, kind of your postcard destination. We covered the Middle Islands, the most common island hopping, St. Bart's, Anguilla, St. Martin. Really great option for anyone that wants an ease of island hopping. And then we covered the Southern Caribbean, which opens the door to a little bit more adventure, a combination of jungle and beach. And it's probably the one that has a little bit more logistics, but worth it every time. So please feel free to put your questions in about those regions. I'm going to cover a couple of new Caribbean partners that we've added just in general, just so you know what else UJV has. We've added some great new properties in Turks and Caicos. We have the Strand now, if you're familiar with that one. We have Solterra as well. So 2 great, really good properties out in Turks and Caicos. I know Turks and Caicos has a lot of properties, but they seem to have a lot of land too, because they're still building out there. So we're excited. There's some great 2026 properties coming as well. We won't spill the beans on that until they announce them publicly, but just keep your eyes. Turks is always a great one. Just FYI, I found out today that there's a nonstop flight from Montego Bay to Turks and Caicos. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be on that. So super excited about that one. Anguilla, we just added back Aurora. Aurora is not new, but it's back to new partners with us. And so we're excited to have them back in our portfolio. Tamarind Hills in Antigua. I actually had a chance to view this one last year. Really great new upcoming property. Please take a moment to Google it, take a look at that, or ask any questions from us. They have some amazing villas out there. Their villas are very unique in the way they're built. They're not individual homes, but they're instead kind of like condo units situated on a hilltop, but an amazing beach they have out there. Really excited to see this one grow a bit more. We added back in St. Regis and Aruba. Super excited to have them back in as a partner, not a new property, but back in our portfolio. Great new properties out in Grenada, Six Senses, been very, very popular. Popular if you're looking for someone that is looking for that Six Senses wellness they're used to in Maldives or other areas. Great option, as well as Silver Sands adding on their beach house section of their Silver Sands property. So really great for honeymooners or people who are looking for a little bit of exclusion or a little privacy. Great to have that beach house section of the Silver Sands property. We have now been back partners with Park Hyatt in St. Kitts. Not a new property, but back in our portfolio. Really great option for anyone that's kind of done the typical Caribbean islands and want to try something a little bit different. Good for families. They have a great kids program. And also you can kind of pair that over with Nevis if you want to. In St. Lucia, we have added the Rabat Hotel from Hotel Chocolat, which we're super excited about. Very unique for a specific client, so we'll want to discuss that one. Very good property as well, and great if you want to pair a few islands together on St. Lucia. And then we have added in Soho House in Canawan. So if anyone of your clients are used to the Soho exclusive brand kind of club membership feel, they have the Soho House out in Canawan that we're excited to be partnered with as well. Next slide, please. So guys, I've covered quite a bit. I want you guys to know you don't have to be an expert, you just have to know one, right? So do not feel lost out here. If you're like, look, I've done the Caribbean 1,000 times and I need fresh ideas. Or, hey, Jazz, I've never done the Caribbean before, but I have a client that has traveled extensively and I need to make sure his Caribbean experience is just as great as when he's traveling to Africa or Europe. How do we make this unique? Give me some fresh ideas. Or, hey, Jazz, I know the Caribbean, but I need a little more help. I'm here for that. You do not have to be an expert. You just have to know one. Just like I said earlier, you don't have to own a boat. You just have to know someone with one, right? And then you're on a boat. So same concept here. So please feel free to lean on me. You can send your Caribbean request directly to me. My email address is listed there. If you have a dedicated UJV advisor, please feel free to lean on them as well. I'm happy to help you quote, plan, book yachts, villas, hidden gems, whatever you're looking to do. We're happy to do it. I'm happy to get it done for you and just make it seamless for you. I handle all the details. You keep the credit and the commission. Always a good thing, right? Exactly. And then no questions are too small. So think of me as your Caribbean partner. So let's ask those questions. Let's dive deep into what the clients are used to traveling or what their needs are for this particular trip. And let's really make sure that we match up a win-win for both of us. I'm very, very big on making sure that I am partnering with you, not just taking orders. I want to hear their needs. I want to hear how they travel. I want to hear their pain points. I want to hear what bad trips they had in the past. So that way we can really curate and make sure that your clients are getting the best experience possible. Lean on me. I'm here for you guys. I'm looking forward to connecting with you. And I hope that we can create some amazing Caribbean experiences together. Next slide, please. So I'm going to move this over now, the UJV Advantage, over to Miss Katie to take over from this point. I look forward to answering some questions here in just a moment. And thank you guys so much for your time and attention.
Wow. Well, thank you, Jazz, for that amazing overview. Please let us know how many are allowed to join you on your honeymoon, because I will be the first to sign up. I think a lot of individuals on the webinar today have perhaps worked with UJV in the past, or if you're brand new to UJV, just a few really advantages of working with us include not just the enhanced commission, early commission payments in our global hotel portfolio, but really that regional expertise. So we have Jazz and many different jazzes on the team who are true experts in the Caribbean, in Mexico, et cetera. But I'm not sure if we also have a similar team of experts for just Europe and just Africa. So keep in mind that we really have a global presence these days. So if you perhaps have a core advisor at UJV, but not a Europe or Africa one and need one, don't hesitate to reach out and let us know. From a selling, why you use UJV, not just the commissions, but the insider access. We have been working, especially in places like Mexico and Caribbean, for a couple of decades now. So we have those intimate relationships with our hotel partners. The parity is really important because the rates you're getting with UJV match what that hotel website rate is, as are the terms and conditions. So we don't have a broad blanket term and condition with UJV. We have full transparency from the moment you book a hotel with us. So the second you're booking one of these Caribbean partners with us, Jazz and the concierge team are letting that hotel know the name of the advisor, the agency, the consortia if applicable, et cetera. And we also do the consortia pass-through amenities. So your clients still get those benefits. A few kind of exciting updates. We will be launching an online booking engine later this year, which will be a really exciting development. It'll just allow you to, at your fingertips, at all hours of the day, book any of our amazing hotel partners at a time that suits you, but your advisor at UJV will still be credited for that booking. In terms of advisor recognition, we, like I said, full transparency from the get-go. We also have several programs that we've launched recently. The Millionaires Club, we do our quarterly leaderboard, and I think in the coming months, we'll be announcing more kind of advisor recognition initiatives. Next slide, please. All right, so now let's open up the chat box here for any questions. Okay, we've got all of our weather and our cities. All right, Brian said, are the properties available always listed on the website, or are there more hotel and villa choices that we can see?
Absolutely. So we list our preferred partners on the website. We do have several partners in different hotels as well as villas that are not listed on the website. So that's why I would love for you guys to reach out to me and say, hey, Jazz, this is what I'm looking for. Or hey, Jazz, these are the ideas that I need. And I can definitely pull in some of those that are not listed on the website. The website highlights just our preferred partnerships, not necessarily everything that we have. So please feel free to ask.
Yep, thank you. And I think especially with villas, there are certain regions around
Yeah.
the world where we have villa partners that are not necessarily listed on the site. Will you be sharing the slide presentation afterwards for our future reference? Yep, we will be sharing a recording of this presentation. And if you would like perhaps a PDF version of this presentation, we would be able to send that to you as well separately. Just shoot us a message. Jazz, what would you say is the average/minimum spend per person in the services you work for? Lane asked that question.
In the what areas? What was it?
In the services you work for. So I would say I would probably quite a wide range in terms of our hotel partners in the Caribbean alone. But what would you say the range would be at kind of maybe a peak season, kind of starting
Yeah.
from up to a kind of a per person rate?
Yeah, so it does depend on the dates. It obviously depends on number of people, and it depends on how many nights they're staying. So I would say if you're out and this is based off of our portfolio as well, right? So we don't carry every single property in the Caribbean. We usually carry more of the 5-star properties. So basing it more off of that. So I would say in the BVI area, if you're gonna go out there and you're gonna do, let's say, 8 nights, and you're gonna hop around maybe let's say the 2 to 3 islands per person in peak season. Now, peak season is anywhere from Thanksgiving until basically Easter. That's peak season for the Caribbean. And so in that region, I would say per person, I would say around 9 to 10K per person for an 8-night stay in the BVI. I would say if you're moving down into the St. Bart, St. Guila area, we're gonna bump it up just a little, probably on the more 10K range. And that's because if you're adding in St. Bart's, it's the most expensive island in the Caribbean. It's also the euro, so you got a little bit of exchange there, etc. And if you're moving down to the southern part, you could actually probably find a great mid-range anywhere from 7 to 10K per person for probably like an 8 to 9 night stay. That helps.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we have some shout outs. Sugar Beach shout out for the art. We love that. Sandy Lane, Cobbler's Cove. And then Mary Beth said, do you work in Guadeloupe and Martinique at this stage?
Yeah, at this stage, we do not. But I have a lot of information on Guadeloupe and Martinique. So if it's a situation where someone's island hopping and they want to include one of those, I'm happy to give you direction on it. And then what we could do is we could do the pre and post together. So whether they are, let's say they're going to do a little bit of, sometimes you can hop St. Martin to Guadeloupe. So if you want to do St. Martin for a little bit and then hop over to Guadeloupe and then do Guadeloupe down to Martinique or something of that nature, I'm happy to help with the areas that we can help with and then kind of instruct you and guide you on the Guadeloupe and Martinique parts.
Perfect. And Brian said, if you add on services beyond accommodation, are those services commissionable as well?
Yes, for the most part, I would say 90% of those are. I would say the services that are not included are going to be things such as like if you add a chef into a villa if when you're doing a boat, you're going to make money on the boat rental. You're not going to make money on them adding jet skis or they're adding an extra meal. So most of the time, all those services and activities are commissionable as well, but it just depends on exactly what those are. Like spa, you're not going to make a commission on a spa, right? So it just depends on what the activities are. But anything that's like excursion category, you'll have a good commission on that as well.
Perfect. And then Michael said, Jazz, I really appreciate this webinar, and I'll be reaching out to you when I get more info from a honeymoon couple, which is wonderful.
Oh, I'm excited, Michael. Let's do it. We'll have a great experience for them.
Exactly. Any other questions? Feel free to pop those in the box there. We'll give you another minute or so.
Yeah, happy to answer any of those questions.
And
And
one other thing while we're waiting, you know, when Jazz mentioned, for example, spa bookings, keep in mind that every one of our you know, advisors within UJV has a concierge team member that works alongside them. And that person, I always say, can truly take a lot of your work off your plate, whether it be, you know, hotel, or excuse me, like hotel spa bookings, restaurant recommendations and restaurant reservations. You know, you don't want to be up in the middle of the night calling a hotel or trying to get in touch with a hotel in the Caribbean when we have a team member who can do that for you. And that even includes the VIP emails that are sent on your behalf with you copied in. So about 7 days prior to arrival, the team will copy you on that email directly with the hotel. So if there are any last minute, you know, updates, bits of information you'd like to share, you have that right at your fingertips as well. So that team can really save you a lot of headaches.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Katie, for mentioning that. That's so important to have that concierge team that'll be working alongside me, you know, and making sure that we get all the bits and pieces, all the logistics worked out for everyone in that. And so with that being said, I will also, if there's anyone that does have planning a Caribbean wedding question, even if you're not I don't work with you or you haven't worked with us before, please feel free to ask. I don't plan weddings, but I can give you firsthand experience of planning a Caribbean wedding, and it's definitely fun. And I know that a lot of advisors are taking on some of that wedding business nowadays. So happy to help guide you in that aspect as well, if needed.
Perfect. I've also just popped the link to the portfolio. So this is always the first go-to when it comes to UJV. It's always updated in real time. So if we would have added a hotel partner this morning, that would be included in that link, as well as I resent Jazz's email address there if anybody missed that earlier. If there are no further questions, we'll close this up here. But again, we'll be sending this recording out to all of the attendees today. And if you would like a PDF version of this presentation, please go ahead and you know, shoot Jazz an email or myself, and we can certainly send that over to you. Thank you all very much again, and have a wonderful rest of the week.
See you in the Caribbean.